Exports from San Diego County increased by $700 million, or nearly 4% from the year before, reaching a record high of nearly $19 billion in 2014, says the U.S. Commerce Department's latest report. Here with the details is my guest, Mark Cafferty, CEO for San Diego Regional Economic Development Corporation. And Mark, what are some of the major export industries here in San Diego?
It's interesting. We have a very diverse array of export industries in San Diego, but what's leading that a lot are some of the industries that you would probably think of when you think of the technology sectors in San Diego. So the movement of goods related to computer and electronic manufacturing. An awful lot of that is attributed to pharmaceuticals or biotechnology or med device related products as well.
And how about the military? Are they an exporter?
It's fascinating. So the military is a huge part of our economy, and what a lot of people don't recognize is while some of the bigger defense contractors that we think of, Northrop Grumman, Cubic, and General Atomics, people think of them only doing work in the U.S. because they do so much around defense. But an awful lot of those global partnerships right now are allowing us to actually have products that are created here, as large as drones and unmanned systems, exported and shipped to other parts of the world.
Well, that leads me to the next question then. What specifically, can you give us examples of what are we shipping? Are we shipping electronics?
It really is everything. You know, San Diego does have one of the most diverse innovation economies and one of the most diverse economies in the world, and it could be as big as the turbines that are being shipped by Solar Turbines. It could be as small as components that are going into medical devices and other manufacturing that are actually happening, that are taking products around the world and really kind of bringing them to another level with technology that's being shipped from San Diego.
So who's buying? I mean, where are these products going?
That's what's interesting is we know that we still have a lot more room to improve. So San Diego is an economy that has been almost in a way hyper-local. So we're starting to see some great trade opportunities with Europe, London and England leading the way on that. Canada and Mexico are incredible trade partners, but Asia and South America is really where we're looking a lot right now. So Japan, China, and many of the South American economies.
Reaching nearly $19 billion in exports, that's a lot of money.
Absolutely.
What does it mean for our local economy?
That's the one thing that sometimes folks don't put back together is the more internationally connected our economy gets, the more opportunities for us to grow products here and ship them overseas. It actually means more local jobs. People are producing more here. There is more opportunity to connect with those international markets, which might mean that investment flows back this way. So what we look at and what we focus on is places where we know we can grow local jobs, and we know that an awful lot of that right now is connected to international markets.
What do you think is behind this growth?
A lot of things. I would love to say that we could take a lot of credit here at the local level, but I think you probably have 5 components. One is a strengthening economy here in the U.S. There's just no doubt about that. But the federal administration has focused for the past few years on exports as a strategy. The governor's office in California has focused on growing exports and international connectedness. And locally, we've had more than 40 partners come together to create an export plan. So I think if you factor those things in, that's why we've seen the needle move, and we want to continue to see it do that in the years ahead.
How does San Diego compare to the rest of the state and the nation when it comes to exports? Where do we rank?
It's interesting. We rank high compared to an awful lot of regions around the country. We would like to rank higher within the metros within the state of California and those other areas that we compete with. So in some ways, the typical story in California, San Diego is always struggling in a way to keep up with LA and the Silicon Valley Bay Area. But we think that California is increasing exports pretty heavily right now, and we think San Diego is going to gain a great deal from that.
Well, one of the issues might be we have a much smaller port, a shipping port, than LA. Does that weigh into it at all?
You know, it may, but I think the interesting thing that folks don't realize is that our port leadership has thought very heavily on what are the niche opportunities for our port. And they're part of that group that I talked about where 40 organizations have come together and said, how do we use our airport? How do we use our rail structure? How do we use the port and our partner ports, both in Ensenada and up in LA and Long Beach?
Well, I know President Obama is pushing the TransPacific Partnership, or the trade agreement between the U.S. and 15 other countries. Is that helping to shape what we're doing here?
That will help to shape what we're doing an awful lot. So I think if you look at the statistics that came out, an awful lot of the stronger export growth has been with nations where we have trade agreements already. We're firm believers that in opening that Trans-Pacific Partnership, an awful lot of the countries and the regions that we want to target are the ones that are really kind of focused on in that particular legislation.
All right, Mark Cafferty, thank you so much.
Wonderful for having me here. Thank you.